These are 5 Google Business Profile mistakes that we do not want to miss. Google Business Profile in 2026, there are things that have changed, and we need to talk about some of the elephants in the room. Hey everyone, this is Raja from Reanimation Design. So last year, you know that I made a setup guide for the Google Business Profile, which you can check out in the description. But there's a lot of things that have changed since then, mainly AI. And we're going to run through for the next few moments just a few things that has changed on your Google Business Profile. Before we get to that though, let's kind of think about some of the things that we talked about. So the service area versus a physical location. So if you are a service area and you are a local business that serves a certain area, but you don't have a physical office, you want to make sure that you don't put your address. Now, there are some out there that will say it is better to put a physical location. However, though, if you go to people and nobody comes to you, then you want to definitely make sure that you do a service area. I can't tell you how many times I have seen other businesses that have maybe their home business address as their Google Business Profile, but nobody comes to them. If you do your physical location, even though you don't actually have people come to visit you, Google really kind of keeps you centered on that. Now, Google does technically keep you centered on your business address, even if it's not shown in your service area. However, though, when you have that physical location, that can be kind of a hindrance. So you want to make sure that if you are a service area that you don't have an office and nobody comes to you, make sure that you put that service area location. If you are a multi-location or you do have a location where people come to visit you, obviously you definitely want to put your address on there. Also, make sure that you are getting verified. The great thing between last year and now is that when Google asks you to verify via video, now they actually tell you what it is that you're missing on there. They'll give you 1 to 3 things, which is absolutely great. Now Google tells you and gives you a much more general, but it gives you a helpful hint as to how you are supposed to do your video to make sure that you are showing up on there. So let's talk about the biggest thing that everybody is talking about, which is AI search. That's really the elephant in the room. A lot of times people will come and say, hey, Roger, I want to get found in AI. I want to get found in AEO, GEO, all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, great. Well, how are you showing up on Google? Because Google still plays a big portion of that. Now, that's still a huge portion, but that's now only maybe about 2/3 or maybe half of the answer, because people are asking ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Gemini, all of these different AIs for overviews. Not only that, but Google is also putting AI overviews in their Google search. Not only are they putting it on their Google search, but they are now also putting it inside the Google Business Profile with AI Ask. But remember that showing up on Google is still important, especially for a local business. But if you can have a much broader reach, Yelp, Facebook, YouTube, Google Business Profile, and also make sure that your website is optimized so that you're showing up on AI, that is going to go a long way. So now let's talk about reviews. We talked about reviews last time, and we said that we need to make sure that we are getting reviews, but if you have a whole bunch of them, don't ask for them all at once. Try to do like a drip campaign. And what I mean by that is, let's say you have 10 to 20 people that can give you a review. Don't ask all 10 and 20 at once. Ask 1 to 2, maybe 3 a week. If you can start to get 1 to 2 reviews a week and you respond to those reviews, that's going to look a lot better than getting 20 reviews all at once. What you also want to start to think about is keywords in the reviews. Now, this was really important back then, and it was a good idea to have, but it is now even more important, especially with AI overviews and with AI being part of the Google Business Profile. You want to make sure that you're not just saying, hey, you know what, they did a great job, I loved their service, but really be a little bit more specific. So it's not just Frank did a great job, we really enjoyed his service, but rather it's Frank did a great job and really helped us with our roof replacement during a difficult time. Made sure that the price was affordable and really got the job done quickly. He even came on a Sunday. The reason why I mentioned that last part is because that is also going to be a really important thing for that. Now you can start asking AI within the Google Business Profile. So you can say, I need a plumber that's open on Sundays, is emergency roofing service. And you want to make sure that your attributes within your Google Business Profile, your hours, as well as also writing those in your description and also your post, making sure that those are thrown in there so that you can start to show up when people are asking. And with an emergency service, you want to make sure that you have emergency service at midnight, any time of the day. You want to make sure that those are in your profile description because they are going to help you show up more. Make sure that it's added in your reviews and put it throughout your Google Business Profile as well. Now we want to talk about things that you don't want to do that will get you suspended. One of the biggest things that will get people suspended is stuffing keywords in your business name. So something like Bob's 24/7 emergency repair, Austin, Texas plumbing for Central Texas or something like that, right? You're stuffing your keywords in the business name. And the reason why you don't want to do that is because if someone calls you, that's how you need to answer the phone. Hey, thanks for calling Bob's 24/7 emergency repair plumbing in Austin, Texas, right? Now, that's not too bad, right? But also, if your business name is not really that, then you're going to get suspended. Now, here's a little tip. What you can do is a DBA, so doing business as. So you can have your name, Bob's Plumbing, but you can have Bob's Plumbing, Austin, Texas, or whatever it is. You can do a DBA and make sure that you put a couple of keywords in there, but don't stuff it and don't make it too long. You want to make sure that your business name is understandable, but not too long to where it's obvious that you're keyword stuffing. You also want to make sure that you don't use a virtual office or a PO box as your physical address. Now, you may be thinking, well, why can't I do that? Well, first off, it says specifically in Google's guidelines that you can't. But also for a virtual office, you want to make sure that somebody's actually going to answer the phone. So you want to make sure that people can actually get a hold of you. Also, don't list services that you don't actually offer. You want to make sure that whatever you actually list as a service on your Google Business Profile, that you actually can do that service. So don't just start listing services of things that you would like to do or maybe think you can do or that are adjacent. Make sure that you actually list services that you can do. Google will probably suspend you if they see a cleaning company that says, hey, we also do cybersecurity as well as also can do your taxes. You also want to be careful if you have multiple profiles for the same businesses at different addresses. People will sometimes take their business and have a fake office somewhere else near their competitor. Now, unless you actually have an office that someone can actually go into and can actually talk to somebody and provide that service, obviously having a multi-location. But if you're just putting your address somewhere and saying that you actually are here when you really aren't, then Google is definitely going to suspend you for that, and you need to really be careful for that. One of the biggest things that you want to think about now, and that has changed, is your Google post. You're thinking of your Google Business Profile as a mini website / mini social media, and Google posts are really great for that. So you have 3 different types of posts. You have what's new, offer, and events. Events is, hey, you have this cool thing that you're doing and you're going to promote that. Offers is, hey, we have our Black Friday special. We have our Memorial Day, or maybe you're running a beta test or a pilot test. That's a great place to put an offer. Then you also have maybe just a weekly update with what's new. Maybe have a testimonial that really helped, maybe a project that you just worked on, or just let them know just a little bit more about what you're doing. What's new? Offers and events through the Google posts are a great way to not only stay connected to your audience, but also to help Google see that you're actually doing something. If you have a Google Business Profile, your post will go away after 60 to 90 days. And they've also found that Google will start to de-rank you or to not show you as much if you have not posted a Google post in 30 days. So make sure that you're consistent with that. This is going to be probably one of the biggest things that you can do. Remember to make sure that your primary category is correct. Your primary category does over 80% of the ranking work. And the secondary categories do about another 10 to 15, maybe 20%. Your primary category is so important. For example, let's say that you are a roofer that also does general contracting, but your primary category needs to be roofing. If that makes up almost 80 to 90% of your business, and maybe every once in a while you do general contracting, then you want to make sure that your primary category says roofing, not general contracting. You want to make sure that your primary category is actually what you do. If as a website designer and video marketer, if I put something down like network specialist or IT or cybersecurity, I'm never going to show up for the right thing because I don't really do any of those things. And nowhere on my website, nowhere on my Google Business Profile does it mention that I do any of those things. You make sure that your primary category is correct to help you show up correctly for when people are searching. So those are some ways that you can show up. And one of the best ways that you can show up is by making sure that you are updating your Google Business Profile, make sure that you're responding to reviews and asking for reviews. And most importantly, make sure that you don't keyword stuff, use a fake location, or list services that you don't actually offer so that you don't get suspended. Thanks so much for checking out. 2026 is an exciting time, and there is a lot of different things that are happening. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about the Google Business Profile this year. There's a lot of cool things that have been added, and there's also a lot of cool things that have kind of been expanded. I think it'll be really great for local businesses to make sure that their Google Business Profile is set up correctly. Please leave a comment below if you have any questions. Check out the description. Don't forget to click the like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.